Hello everybody and welcome to SVR 11 Universe. This is SmackDown, kicking things off with The Rock making his SmackDown debut. And it's going to be a double debut because he's facing off against, well, that guy there actually, the British Bulldog. Okay, that's definitely not the debut I was expecting Bulldog to want to make, but here we are. So The Rock and Bulldog both debuting because I thought it was about time that just everyone got their first appearance in. And I think these are like the final two. I think maybe there might be like one more that hasn't debuted, but if there is, off the top of my head, I can't name who it would be. So we're kicking things off with The Rock and the Bulldog. And in this episode of SmackDown, I mean, I admit, if you saw the last week's, or yesterday's, it's probably gone up, episode of Superstars. It was actually last Thursdays, if we're going to go by the 2010 timeline that this is totally based in. My question to you... Wait, what? Sorry, I've been out in the sun, and evidently I'm not doing so very good because of it. I am absolutely drenched in sweat. It is quite disgusting. I have covered myself in so much deodorant, and it has still not managed to... you know, antiperspirant, I should say, not deodorant, because obviously deodorant makes it sound more like a stink thing, whereas this is more of like a I don't want to sweat thing. And it has not prevented the perspiring. It was just so goddamn hot. So, yeah, but anyway, to concentrate on the subject matter, I know that originally on Superstars, this match was set to be a submission match between DiBiase Jr. and Tatsu after that random victory that DiBiase got over Tatsu for the $1 million title on yesterday's. I mean, that actually does work because Superstars apparently aired on Thursdays right before SmackDown on Fridays, so I guess yesterday is the right context, no matter what. But, after yesterday's episode of Superstars where Tatsu lost in like 2 minutes, I think, I haven't actually timed it yet. It's been edited and rendered, I just don't think I actually remember to time it. But basically, the thing I'm saying is, I decided not to go with that rematch on the kickoff of SmackDown. Not because I don't care for the match between the two. I actually like the idea of that rivalry between them. Why did he just do a Umaga move? So basically, the reason I decided not to go with it is just because I don't really care for submission matches. Like, no disrespect, I can enjoy a submission match. When I say I don't care for submission matches, I should probably correct myself. I don't mean that I don't like submission matches as a whole. What I mean is I don't care for playing them in this game. With the right people, they can be pretty good. But what the hell does Tatsu have in terms of submission? I mean, admittedly, you could go with the gimmick. This sounds like something Multi-X Games would come up with. My god, I love your comments, by the way. Please, never stop. Your giant rundowns of each show are, by far, the highlight every week. I love it. It really makes me feel like I'm doing this for something. But, to kind of come up with something that I could totally see them saying, that, wow, I've had like a total brain fart again. The reason that this submission match could have happened is obviously DiBiase's got a lot of money, hence why he's the $1 million champion, and he can kind of defend that under his terms and whatever. So he could have wanted a rematch where he could further embarrass Tatsu by having a submission match against the guy in which he could then, you know, use the $1 million dream and get another easy victory because he has a submission move and Tatsu does not. My god, I need to stop doing the Samoan drop. So, I mean, there is some logic behind it, it's just, I didn't want to do it. That's really all it came down to, I just didn't want to do that match. I thought it was high time that one of these two, if not both, as I went with, debuted. So that's what I went with. You know when you try a move, and they reverse it, and it would have been the perfect finish, but you have to do it 3 times. So although it could still be the finish, it's just not as perfect because they counted it 2 times first. Good times. Well, there you go. The Rock, much like his lifelong rival, Steve Austin, attacked by a Brit at the beginning of the match, and still able to overcome the odds. Take that, England, the country of which I am from. He gets a big victory here tonight. Love him or hate him, that was an incredible match. So The Rock picking up his first victory on SmackDown, and I can assume he will be laying the SmackDown on many people on SmackDown. He's got a good run coming his way if he actually gets booked. He could be world champion one day, but he's got to get booked first. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Now we're up to another SmackDown one-on-one match. Rob Van Dam in singles competition.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Approaching the ring from Battle Creek, Michigan, weighing 235 pounds, Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam, partner of Yoshitatsu, potentially. I'm not sure if those are an actual team just yet. There's been no denial or confirmation. But Rob Van Dam had the back of Yoshitatsu against Vance Archer. Now he's going to have his back against DiBiase and Cody Rhodes, the Legacy, because initially booked for this week was actually DiBiase and Tatsu in a rematch, as well as their tag partners Rob Van Dam and Cody Rhodes in another match going one-on-one. So it kind of worked in that regard. But as I say, we're not entirely sure if Rob Van Dam and Tatsu will be a team.
And his opponent from Marietta, Georgia, weighing 223 pounds, Cody Rhodes.
So, young lad Cody Rhodes here. I don't actually think he's had a first match yet. I might be mistaken. I think this might be his first match. Maybe he hadn't debuted yet. I know he'd been in the corner of Ted, but now that I think about it, I can't remember a match that he'd had. I mean, admittedly, as this series goes on, I'm probably gonna struggle a little bit with remembering all of them, so, you know, forgive me if I don't remember one or two matches. Okay, I'm not going to be able to read about that just yet. I think he may have had a match, actually. I don't know why, but like I want to say he did, I just don't remember what it is. I was going to quickly look at the wiki to see like what that had said about if this was Cody Rhodes' debut or not. I'm going to like kind of try to multitask, like when a long move is happening, I'm going to try and like type and shit. Cody Rhodes. He does have a page, so that's a good sign, but that might just be a redirect to Stardust. Because the redirects didn't die on the wiki. No, he had a match, he lost. Who'd he lose to? Handicap match to Tatsu and Luger. Yes, I do recall that now. So he's kind of had a long-standing thing with Tatsu. It's just that Tatsu's now got a partner that actually suits him a little more than Luger ever did. I don't know, maybe people disagree, but I really like the team of Tatsu and Rob Van Dam. I don't know like what chemistry they've got other than that they both have yin yang on them, but I like that. Actually, does Tatsu's current attire have yin yang on it? I don't think it does. I know some of his attires have, but I don't think that one does. This is where someone tells me that he's actually never had a yin yang on him and I just made that up off the top of my head. I have in my head that Tatsu's wore an attire with a yin yang on it anyway. Oh my god. Rob Van Dam with a massive flurry of kicks. You know what really upsets me about this game? Rob Van Dam was a free agent when this game came out, if I remember right, or when it was in development. When it came out, he was in Impact. But when it was in development, Rob Van Dam was a free agent, which is why he was able to appear in this, despite not being under contract, or some shit like that. But another guy who was a free agent and appears in this game is the Hurricane. He appears during the Rey Mysterio Road to WrestleMania, as does Rob Van Dam. But you know what? Hurricane's not a playable character. Apparently his Titantron, his music, his entrance motion, every single thing to do with the Hurricane was in this game, but they did not make him a playable character. For some reason. You can hack the game and unlock him, but I don't know how to do that, and I don't particularly want to hack my PS3. Because I don't want to get banned from the PSN. So I won't be doing that. But it's just a fact that annoys me, is the fact that the Hurricane is in this game. And it's a good character model, and it's a completed character model with all of his moves and stuff. Probably even has his own victory animation. I'll tell you one thing that really amazed me about this game, though, was something I just wasn't expecting. Rob Van Dam has an incredibly high overall in this game. He's got an overall of 94, I think it was. For context, I think someone does go as high as 98. I think like Undertaker, Triple H, or Cena, one of those three, like do actually go up to 98. But 94. Well, like I think British Bulldog is a 94, which really surprises me because as much as I know people really like him, he was kind of always a mid-carder in WWE. So that was really strange. I don't know if maybe it's just the era of Bulldog that they based him on, because I know when he had the dreads, I think that's around the time that they were pushing him quite hard. He had that big match with Bret Hart, I think, when he had the dreads. Not dreads. Are they dreads? No, it's just kind of braided. And yeah, they're really not dreads now that I think about it. Dreads are a lot thicker and messier. They were very neat. But, around that time, I think he was getting a bit of a push, but I was a little amazed at, like, 94. For both Rob Van Dam and British Bulldog. I know they were quite generous with a lot of the ratings in this. Someone who's quite a lower mid-carder like Cody Rhodes is at 87, I think. It's just surprising is all. I don't think Cody Rhodes was being heavily pushed around this time. I think 26 was when they had the Legacy triple threat at Mania, I want to say. Which is why they're not actually a group.
Man, this is one of those matches you just like to sit back and enjoy watching.
Yeah, I don't even remember who won that triple threat. I just know that it happened. Oh no, he won't have the kick yet, will he? The beautiful disaster kick, or whatever the hell it's called. Running Bulldog. Incredible.
Not really. Cody has a right to be just as confident as any other superstar in the WWE.
I thought I could try to put Cody over. Try to legitimize the Legacy as a team, but Rob Van Dam really doesn't want none of that.
He does it again. Look at the effect this match has had on Cody Rhodes. The cockiness and swagger have all but fled his body.
Oh, let's. Oh, I was gonna try a submission hold. Rob Van Dam. Yeah, I like the whole stored finishes more because it felt like the matches could kind of run a lot smoother. You could actually end it when you wanted to rather than building up a finisher and then having to try to rush it. Otherwise, you've got like another 5 minutes on hand until you next can do your finish. I mean, obviously, a match doesn't have to end with a finisher. I just think it's quite traditional that they do.
Cody into the headlock. Watch it. That was like a freight train.
That sure was, I guess.
Rob Van Dam with the arm. Let me tell you what a rotten kid Cody Rhodes was growing up. When he was 8 years old, he told his mom he wanted a dog for Christmas. And she said, no, you'll have turkey like everybody else.
Wow, that was funny, Lawler. You should do stand-up.
Van Dam has the arm.
Oh boy. The Del Rio special. Can't wait for him to be in Universe. I love Del Rio. I'll use him, but I don't particularly like him very much. So I do apologize to any Del Rio fans if you're expecting big things for him, but you might not get them.
Rob Van Dam from Battle Creek, Michigan. Got his start.
Rob Van Dam with the spinning kick for the 80th time.
In fact, was it you?
I like how slowly he keeps going for Rolling Thunder. It's so obvious why he keeps walking to my side. He's just not doing anything when he gets there.
Oh, ow, what an elbow. Oh, good Lord. Cody doing a little mocking now.
Yeah, do the old cocaine nose wipe.
Counter by Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, do the old spin around.
RVD looking
Knock him out of midair.
Oh, there
Classic Van Dam move. Falling out of midair. I mean, in a way, that sentence is true. Because he's a high flyer, you see.
RVD looking to score again.
I'm really not sure what he keeps doing that for. That's like his current go-to, is he just really wants to, just really badly wants to do a high-flying move. There you go. That's what happens when you don't fall over. Yeah, let's get angry, and then let's do the crossroads, and hope that actually works. Oh, no, he doesn't have the crossroads yet. He's got a DDT. Okay. Wow, very old-school move for Cody. But there you go. There's a nice big win for him, because I think he could really use it. Poor guy. One day he's going to be incredibly overrated and have a terrible blonde haircut. It's funny because I don't know anything about modern day Cody Rhodes. I just repeat the things that I've seen other people say about him. That wasn't me taking shots at anyone, for the record. I was literally just saying I don't know anything about Cody Rhodes since he left WWE, other than that people really don't seem to like him much anymore, and the blonde hair looks incredibly stupid on him. That's all I know. He's also got some shitty tattoos now, I think. That's cool. Yo, 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 yo! I missed that intro. It's Cryme time in tag team competition. I think this is the first time they've actually performed as a team on SmackDown, but I might be wrong. Regardless, it's good to see them teaming up again. They got a huge opportunity on hand. I'm just waiting for their introduction. That's why I keep pausing. I'm sure they'll get introduced eventually. Unless they just don't get introduced. Oh, okay. The tag team champions fighting in their own way. Why not? Chris Jericho and The Miz are the current reigning WWE Tag Team Champions. This is actually their first match since being awarded the championships by defeating the Straight Edge Society a couple weeks back in a ladder match. They've got to defend those titles within the next 2 weeks to kind of keep in line with the whole 30-day compete clause. So they do actually really need some contenders, otherwise it's going to be a little like the World Tag titles, where they just kind of have a match between the champions and the random contenders of Mark Henry and MVP. So expect one of the two things. But a quick cheap shot over Cryme Tyme hasn't been overly favourable for them to start things off. I gotta say, I wasn't actually expecting that. I really was hoping that, like, we'd get to see that lovely generic double title entrance for The Miz. I'm just kidding, I've actually... Excuse me. I've actually set one up for him now. Like, it's not great, but it at least fits him more than the really generic one that Tyson Kidd and David Hart were doing. So I was kind of looking forward to seeing if it actually worked, but that's fine. Initially, I was thinking of giving him The Rock's entrance for the double title, because it like, he kind of almost imitates The Rock with certain things that The Miz does. So I thought that one would work quite well, but it did look a little silly. I think it was the way The Rock walks, that kind of like big man strut. It doesn't really fit someone like Miz, because although he's fantastic, I wouldn't particularly call him big. I mean, admittedly, The Rock, like, in his initial run, he wasn't very big either. It was only when he returned. But I'm talking physique, if it wasn't obvious. The Rock is a massive star. I was talking physique. Already had people mock me for things, thinking that I was saying something completely different once before. I'll never forget fucking the most successful video that the channel ever saw back in the day, the W12 DLC one. I think I said, like, Mick Foley is really resilient or something along those lines, and a fucking comment was like, Mick Foley's Brazilian, you know nothing about these legends. And it was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. How the hell you missed it? I mean, I can hear it, but why would they even assume that I would just randomly go, Mick Foley is really Brazilian after kicking out of a move? I do kind of want someone to go on, like, the 2K19 now and make, like, a Brazil gimmick themed fucking Mick Foley. You know, actually do it on, like, 2K17 or 18 whenever he was last in the game, because then that way you can actually do, like, superstar threads rather than... Oh, It's not actually called that anymore. It's just Superstar Creator, isn't it? But whatever. You know what I mean. You can do it that way instead of having to create a Mick Foley from scratch. I want to see it. I want to see like Brazilian Patriot Mick Foley. So I still need a team name for The Miz and Chris Jericho. Admittedly, none of the last episodes have gone up, so I'm sure you've already heard me say that I want those. I'm not saying, like, how dare you have not given me an answer. They haven't even gone up yet. I just wanted to say, they are still just called Jericho and The Miz at the moment. I don't actually have a team name for them. I look forward to hearing some of the things that everyone can come up with, you know? I'm not against, even if, like, all the names we get are bad, I'd take a bad name over no name. I like team names. I think that they're a good part. It kind of shows, like, that's it. They're a unit now. I've got to say, Miz is kind of the focal point of this tag team championship combo, though. Chris Jericho really not being a standout star between the two. No disrespect to him, but obviously it's the Miz that I would say is really the spotlight. Obviously, he is an Intercontinental Champion and Tag Team Champion, so I think it's a fair statement to make.
A smart tag team move there.
Damn it, dude. Keep shoving me like that. Come on, up you get. Oh, okay. That's just a signature in this one. All right.
It's the walls of Jericho. Oh, it is just in the nick of time. And he finally gets out.
Uh-oh. We got some revenge from Superstars.
Shoulders down. He breaks up the pin and the match continues. And now he's back out on the Jericho. Codebreaker. Jericho hits the codebreaker.
We got some more issues developing from over on Superstars where Kozlov and Jericho face. I mean, it's not really revenge. Because, like, Jericho didn't even beat Kozlov. It's just kind of like an uh-oh. I suppose, yeah, it would make sense. That's why I've gone for it. Jericho to go and attack Vladimir Kozlov. That's the kind of thing I could see Jericho doing, is just lashing out at someone who screws him out of a match. Just gotta be careful not to get too distracted, because a count-out victory is still a victory for the Cryme Tyme, and that would put them in the top contention for the tag team titles. 3-on-1 pretty much right now, because The Miz ain't really helping. Not at all what I meant to do there, but that's fine.
Oh, clothesline! And he makes the tag. And he finally gets out of the ring.
I gotta say, Cryme Tyme probably shouldn't have lasted as long as they had, considering the fact that they were attacked before the match, so credit where due to them for still actually being in this. I know Kozlov did step up, but they've done well for themselves despite the fact that there was that interference. I mean, despite the fact that they were attacked before the match, and I respect Kozlov's choice to try and stick it to them and come out. Maybe Kozlov and Finlay could be future contenders. They are a tag team on SmackDown. Uh-oh. But this could be exactly what Cryme Tyme needed to actually beat the tag team champions. It's looking favorable. Pin over the Miz isn't just a pin over the tag champs, that's a pin over the Intercontinental Champion. Well, there you go. Just in a matter of seconds, momentum completely shifted, and Cryme Tyme now hold a victory over the WWE Tag Team Champions, and considering they need contenders, I think we might be looking at a rematch in the next few weeks for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. What do you think about that? I gotta say, I like the way this one's played out. I like it very much. Cryme Tyme with a well-deserved victory despite the cheap shot. Well done. Well, it's main event time and it is a contenders match for the Royal Rumble. Apparently Undertaker not going to be given immediate rematch clause.
Contest is scheduled for one fall. Approaching the ring, standing at 7 feet tall, weighing 441 pounds, the Big Show.
But Big Show, he ate defeat last week, one-on-one with Randy Orton. And CM Punk has suffered defeat at the hands of Randy Orton many, many times in the main event of SmackDown. But these two people who have faced Randy Orton many times in main events on SmackDown, well, mostly CM Punk, Big Show's only fought him once, will now go one-on-one to determine who challenges Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble event. So I look forward to finding out which one of these two it's going to be. Admittedly, I know that there is a size disadvantage. CM Punk, a very small guy, whereas the Big Show, much, much larger. So I think in terms of that alone, it's quite safe to say who probably stands a better chance of coming out of this one on top. But you never know. I do know one thing though, and that's that they have both agreed to leave their partners at home, or in the back I should say, not at home. So Lex Luger and Luke Gallows will not be coming to ringside with either of them.
From Chicago, Illinois, weighing in at 220 pounds, CM Punk.
Punk may have felt like he needed Luke Gallows for the advantage, but it was either face Big Show one-on-one fair and get a contendership match, or just don't get the opportunity. And obviously he's going to have to take just leaving Gallows in the back and trying his best over not getting it at all. Realistically, if you are the World Heavyweight Champion of SmackDown, you're going to have to go through people like Big Show eventually if you want to keep your spot at the top. You have to consider every single member of SmackDown from Primo to Big Show as a potential opponent for the World Heavyweight title. Sorry to use Primo as at the bottom of the ladder, but I mean, really, guys, come on.
There's the bell, and here we go.
But I can expect this one to mostly be a Big Show style match. Punk's going to have a lot of struggles getting the Big Show off his feet, I'd imagine. Although I don't know, because this is a video game and those kind of rules don't generally apply. I got a funny feeling we'll be seeing a GTS on Big Show at some point. But right now I gotta say this is going about as much as we'd expect. I suppose that's one way to get a very quick advantage against the Big Show. Crossbody, that got him off his feet. Now he's just got to keep him off his feet if he wants to be able to pick up the victory. CM Punk has beaten Randy Orton before, whereas Big Show doesn't currently hold a victory over Orton. So that in itself is an accomplishment that will help him to an extent. It's just this whole concept of getting the Big Show off his feet that I think is going to be the real power struggle. Punk keeps going to try for a move, but Big Show is really, really controlling this, and I believe we saw about 3 or 4 of those on Orton on SmackDown last week. There you go, that got him off his feet once again. Oh, and that got him right back up on his feet. Doesn't take much for Big Show to recover. Wise move, I guess. You gotta wonder what Punk's strategy could possibly be when going up against the Big Show, other than to keep poking him in the eye. I guess smarts is definitely something Punk's got over Big Show. Yeah, I'll give him that. He's gonna be smarter than Big Show. It's always been one of Big Show's downfalls, I'd say.
A colossal counter. Big Show controlling the arm.
There you go.
Big Show loses his
That's him down once again. I take it that agility is the strategy.
What a vicious shot with the knee. tension in this arena is palpable for this main event.
Well, I mean, that one would have had a lot of momentum behind it, so well done to Big Show.
He needs to get a big counter sooner rather than later, and then begin to wear his opponent down. Oh, it doesn't get more punishing than that.
A sharp elbow drop.
I got a funny feeling we'll probably see Luke Gallows run in at some point. Just because he left Gallows in the back to start with the match doesn't mean we can't see a happy coincidence as he runs out. We saw an interference in a Contenders match on Raw this week for the US title, so it's not exactly far-fetched to think that there'll be some kind of interference.
Big Show with pure physical dominance.
Watch it.
Showstopper. Wow, this is just not looking good for Punk.
Big Show's offense kind of looks like a bowling.
More choke slams. I'm starting to think that maybe Randy Orton beating Big Show really set Big Show off on something. Because this has been pretty rough.
Big Show.
Oh dear God.
Hit him so hard, his kids will be born dizzy.
1, 2.
Well, that's it. I mean, Punk got absolutely annihilated. He tried to put a few moves in, but realistically, Big Show was on a bit of a mean streak there. We saw, like, once again, several choke slams. We've seen a lot of high impact moves in that one. That big spear.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just received
Uh-oh.
word that this contest has been ordered to restart as a falls count anywhere.
This is it.
Well, as if one wasn't enough for Punk, he's now been given another opportunity.
There is here tonight.
I don't know who in the back thought that wasn't a fair fight. It was very clear as day who had won.
This could be over quick.
But I guess, yep, Punk was very quick to realize what a Falls Count Anywhere match would imply for him. Maybe this was the trick all along. Maybe Punk was willing to take that beat down and make it look like he was down and out and the loser of the match. Maybe he knew exactly what he was doing.
That's right. If he finds an object under that ring, it's just as
This is just not a fair fight now.
And again, he gets struck with that object.
I mean, admittedly, that's a sight there that Punk doesn't want to deal with, and it's very clear as day.
He didn't need a GPS to find the mark.
Don't know why he bothered to kick the referee there.
Oh, and there goes the...
And of course, there you go. Some justice to be found after all. Can't really say I blame Luger for coming out to the aid of his partner. This has been a completely unfair turn of events.
Yow! He's looking to put his opponent away right here.
And here we see the Lex Luger walk into the right move.
How lucky am I? WWE main event, and we've got the best seats in the house.
Oh my god, I love wrestling games so much. Oh, this was before you could interfere moves as well, so Big Show can't do anything. Have you guys ever wanted to see what the entire SmackDown arena looks like? Well, here you go. Oh, floating fans. I always wondered how they did it. It all makes sense now. I kind of want to see how far this goes. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. My god, they really did design quite a lot of this arena, though. Credit where due. I'm finding like a new appreciation for them, actually. That is a very complete and full arena. I always kind of assumed they just took shortcuts and didn't bother to design the crowd past a certain point where you couldn't actually see. But no, they really did. Wow. I've learnt something today, and I have a new respect for the WWE Games team. Okay. How much further out can this camera go? That looks like a complete arena right there, so I'm guessing that's it, but still. Damn, you gotta admit, that's pretty cool. It shouldn't be, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, well, the match is broken, so we'll just say that Big Show won and forget about the start over. It's fine. I'm not at all fussed about the end of that one. I already saw from Swagger beating Michaels and then the restart that counts as Big Show becoming the contender, so that might screw things up a little bit, but whatever. So, British Bulldog has turned his back on the WWE fans, and his relationship with The Rock has gotten worse. Cody Rhodes defeated Rob Van Dam in what was apparently a David and Goliath victory, I'm going to guess just because of their overalls. And Jericho and The Miz as a partnership has gotten stronger, so that's good. I actually had to reunite Bourne and Kingston because it had split them because they haven't teamed and all they've been doing is facing off against each other, so I had to put them back together. Just thought I'd let you guys know that. So I think a comment that we got before saying that because we're not using the tag matches the game is booking, it's not actually changing the rankings. I think that's true because, yeah, that's exactly what I've seen happen. In terms of the Intercontinental title, Cody Rhodes remains number 1. Obviously, he randomly got that on Superstars, but now that he's actually had a victory, that makes a little more sense. And he did replace Tatsu, who was number 1 originally. And Shad has gone up by 1 because of his victory alongside JTG over the tag champions, which, to be fair, he did pin The Miz, so that does make sense that he'd go up. Punk really shouldn't be number 1, but whatever, we're going with it. We'll just say that Big Show got screwed, you know, why not? So Punk is the number 1 contender, Cena number 2, because of his victory on Superstars. Big Show's now dropped from number 1 to number 3, thanks to CM Punk not really winning the match, but Big Show getting screwed, I guess. Undertaker has taken a drop because of Cena's boost, and DiBiase went up on Superstars because of his victory over Tatsu, I believe, so that one's not actually a change. So there you go, that's all that. We got 2 more weeks until the Royal Rumble, and on this week's Raw, I'm going to guess probably something to do with Swagger and Michaels in the main event. But first up, it's Punk Zack Ryder once again for the opener, because it always does. So Zack Ryder versus Evan Bourne, that might happen. Christian versus John Morrison with Kane. I would remove Kane, but otherwise that could happen, yes. Yeah, I don't see why not. Could be that Morrison's unhappy that Christian won the Battle Royal, so he wants a shot against Christian. I don't know. Cody Rhodes and DiBiase against Sheamus and McIntyre. Absolutely not, because Cody Rhodes and DiBiase are a SmackDown team, so that one's going to need changing. And that is just plain and simple not happening. We have seen it enough. It is time for something different in the main event, I think. So I'll come up with something on the day. But at the moment, I don't know what would replace it. It's just that's not happening. I'm getting sick and tired of it booking those two as the only main eventers on Raw, plus Triple H. So probably something to do with none of those 3 in the main event of Raw this week. But for now, thank you for joining me for this week's episode of SmackDown here in the delightful year of 2010. So we'll see you guys next time with Raw. Bye.